Hello everybody, this is Bacter. This is Immortal Planet, and we are going to do some further things today. So, if you remember from last time, we spent our time and cleared out the archives. Following that, we did a little challenge and showed off a few of the spells and such. Some people asked me why it was that I didn't show off telekinesis and the fireball, and that is because of pure ignorance. I didn't mean to not. So, I'm going to go back to the sword spear before too long, but I'm just going to show off the mace in combat for a little bit this time. And we are absolutely flush with things to do. So let's get ourselves the fireball and the telekinesis here. Probably not the two strongest spells in the game. The fireball is closer to the flame grenade, which you can see I also have equipped. Telekinesis is just a pushback if you don't like people being near you, but you'll see that in a little bit. So, last time, we, like I said, cleared out the southern area, I guess it is. Hey, buddy, can I melt you? No, I guess not. So here's our friend, the archivist, who, I don't know, man, sold us all his stuff. We got a flame sword from down there, and while there are two ways to go, the original direction we were given by Temple Owl long ago was to sort of go up this way and see where the leaders of everything were. And oh, this guy is just furious at us. That's what his deal is. Guess we shouldn't have been surprised. You saw there that, ow, dang it, that he takes away a lot of damage. Yes, the game really just genuinely stops messing around at this point, and starts giving you enemies that do a ton of damage. He throws a poison, acid, corrosive kind of grenade at you, and it drains your health. That's prison elite there. I don't know why some of these things are shorting out, but whatever. Anyway, he throws that grenade. It drains your health as long as you're in it. And more troubling yet, it doesn't seem to affect him at all. So that is a player-specific grenade there. Fortunately, they are kind enough to give you a rest point as soon as you get in. So let's take this time to level up, get ourselves 15 intelligence just on a hunch. And we'll start working on willpower, and we want to keep upping agility as well. We want as much magic as we can get. So, this is the prison complex, and you might wonder what use a sci-fi robot planet would have for a prison. Well, there's some real jerks out there. So there's Fireball. It stuns him for a second and leaves a trail of fire for him to be on, which is a bummer. Oh, we did a bad thing, unfortunately. There we go. Sometimes, sometimes this happens. I meant to be trapped in there fighting with him. He was going to let me through just a second ago. But unfortunately, taunted me with that. Here we go. It's coming our way. Unfortunately, sometimes you get a little edge case where it keeps you out instead. Now, the normal method of exhausting their stamina and knocking their block off still applies. So this level, as many of the others, you'll have to go through lots of small challenges before you can unlock things that make progress significantly easier. So, there we go. These narrow walkways make telekinesis actually a pretty decent spell. I am also very glad to have the blood red eyes available to me as usual, because vampiring people is exceptionally good. You notice I'm getting a lot of memories for this area, and so if you want to grind, I have found this area to be pretty much a number one as far as that goes. Nope. You don't throw that far. And again, this is sort of my general beef with non-magic items. Like, it doesn't do that much damage. So, whatever. We will open our way and progress on further. I'm not sure how far telekinesis throws you. The answer is not really all that far, but if you need to spam it, you can sure knock a guy off the edge there. I'm going to go back to Sword Spear the next time I go back and rest. I'll tell you that. Ah, sorry, buddy. Whoops. Alright, back to Sword Spear we go. There's the spell time, I think, does decrease a bit as you go along, but it's still just a little too much to be useful. Now, hopefully, the charge with the Sword Spear is going to allow me to try out some shenanigans, especially, again, on these narrow walkways. This is an area where you especially want to be blocking. No, it doesn't really push people far enough for any of that. That's fine. Here we go. Because these guards hit very hard. One of the things that they ramp up in this game is the damage that enemies deal against you. They certainly don't mind training you that, yes, if you're not blocking, why aren't you blocking? Okay. I kind of want to increase my areas that I can go options, so that would mean killing him, but instead of that, I think I'm just going to go have a conversation with this guy down here. A prison enforcer. Very good at blocking, but unfortunately, not quite as good at not exhausting himself. And oh, that grenade! I hate the grenade. It's one of the ones where it's a little harder to remember because he doesn't have. They're starting to give enemies not as much of a wind-up time. So that's just something you're going to have to remember. With the prison enforcers like this, what you want is to get in close and make them do their double swipe there. The nice thing about the double swipe is you almost always are going to have enough energy to defend against it, unless you've just been fighting somebody else. And then it exhausts their stamina. And so that alone makes it worthwhile, because then they're stunned. And as a lighter enemy, yeah, some enemies are heavier and a little bit harder to push. Okay, this guy seems like... I guess the thing about the grenade throw is that the wind-up for it, to me, really looks like the same as the wind-up when they're about to swing their sword just regular. So if you're a little closer to them, maybe that's easier to tell. Oop. Thought he had maybe enough stamina down for me to do that. He did not. Again, though, bloodshot eyes are saving me from a real beating here. And you can see, not only are the enemies doing more damage, they just have a ton more health these days. That went very differently. I know I've mentioned, and I know you've seen, but these panels stay pressed regardless. They sure are throwing a lot of new enemy types at you here. Alright. And down went the Prison Walker. He is a rush up close and punch you kind of guy. You see the little dash I'm doing here between sections, and that is the way we're going to want to go if we want to, say, clear this whole area without being detected. Why would we want to do that? Well, for instance, maybe we're done showing off the magic that isn't as good, and we know that there's something serious coming up real soon, and we want to get some real magic that might help us, like, say, the Stun Bolt and Disintegration Beam. That is a fine loadout in one. Although, I don't know. I could either go... in fact, I think I'm going to forego the Disintegration Beam in favor of the Ice Shard. And that is for a particular reason that I will detail when we get there. But for now, yes. Stun Bolt, Disintegration Beam, Immortal Blood, and it kind of doesn't matter what else we pick, except I'm going to go for Ceremonial Pistol, because at least you can do some decent damage with the pistol, which is, unfortunately, more than I can say for some of the other weapons out there. So you might have noticed, like a bunch of other games out there, but the one that I've played most recently that comes to mind is Hyper Light Drifter. Oh, I didn't level up. Sorry for making you sit through that little thing back there, but I've got 5,000 memories I'm carting around. There's just no reason to lose these farther in the dungeon. Okay, let's get me up to 10 on willpower, and the rest into agility and 1 in endurance just for the health. Alright, that's good. I'm glad I caught that, because that was quite a few level ups, and level ups are what we like. Now, the bummer is I'm putting stuff into intelligence rather than willpower, and I want a lot of willpower too, because I want extra spell uses. There we go. Just barely knocked him off there. And you see, again, just from defeating him, I got enough memories for another level up, but I'm going to hold off on that for now. I keep forgetting I don't have Iron Spine, because I've been playing through in Nightmare mode, and in Nightmare mode, some things are different, and I have Iron Spine. So I keep trying to do the perfect blocks. It's actually quite a bit safer to just block way before the blows are going to land. Anyway, that's a nice little trick to zip through this area if you don't care to fight everybody. And almost as if I knew that something serious was about to happen. Oh, bless my soul. I like that little head turn. That's decently menacing. Hey there, buddy. So, welcome to Prisoner 1, I believe is his name. He's just a jerk, as you might expect. Floats around like this. Occasionally, he will either struggle with his bonds or rush at you. What you want is the rush followed by the sword swing, because then you can bop him one. Now, you see, the damage I'm doing is not exactly A1 grade here, but it does add up. You have to be patient for this fight, though a little magic damage is never unwarranted. The reason I didn't go for the disintegration beam, incidentally, is because this guy is flying, and so would not take damage from the fire. Fortunately, sometimes he just does that thing there. I think he's supposed to be struggling with his manacles, though I'm definitely not sure about that. There we go. Ah, he's down 1/3 of his health already. Well, 1/4 of his health, I guess, but still, you know, it adds up. If you're looking for a quick death, this is maybe not your guy. And he's got those things, and that's why, oh, being stunned is so bad. Okay. As I've said before, with the last boss, I'm probably going to give him, I'd say, like 2 or 3 tries. And then if that doesn't work, I will simply cut out the parts where I struggle fruitlessly against him. For this first part, there really isn't too much of a trick, besides knowing the fact that you want to keep away from him enough that he does his rush, because that's the move that leaves him open to that rush sword swipe double combo, and that's when you want to be hurting him. Also, you want to keep in mind... Oh, there we go. This time, it's the punchers that are the monsters in the box. So this really tells you something about society, or at least the society of this immortal planet, that the 2 major institutions we've seen so far are a big library where everybody went insane, and a prison, and that's all that they've got so far. They're knowledge-based, but also apparently fairly hard on each other. I'm not sure exactly what the number... I'm actually going to grab these because he can kill you fast. I would rather not lose my my memories. Not sure exactly what the number of yellow squares is before, you have sort of like officially can't. Oh. Ah, that was just botched all around. The annoying thing about this guy is he always does damage that's like kind of in the in-between amounts. Like if I had more damage taken off of me, I would know that I wanted to use a health thing right now. But as it is, I would kind of feel like I was wasting one, but not totally. It's confusing. Oh. And the range on his dash is just... It's hard to fathom, because like he kind of slows down at the end of it. Oh, that was just foolish of me. Whew. There we go. It's at least nice of the level that they give you 2 healing packs on just your regular way over here. There really isn't a whole lot to do in the prison besides this first big fight. You notice that both of the other two places were a bit more spread out. I moved towards him there, which was a bummer. Unfortunately, I have no such ability to fly, so I'm always going to take it in the teeth from the fire. Actually, is he taking damage from that? It looks like he maybe is. I really thought most flying enemies don't take fire damage, so I thought that was going to be the deal with him. Whoops. Caught him just a little bit too late there, I guess. Alright, he's getting down. We've almost got two big ones off of him. Oh, the ice shard is so good. Oh, I should be using it more this fight, probably. I tend to like to save stuff. Okay, there's a late game spell. These guys, as you might expect, just kind of float around harmlessly until you get near them, and then they charge at you. And he tends to replenish them fairly quickly, in a real jerk move. He can absolutely strike at you from... Oh, shoot. Yeah. He can absolutely strike at you from... Man. He just gets quicker as the fight goes on, as bosses tend to do. So I really... And of course I'm out of healing at this point. Just gonna go for broke at this point. And I'm gonna get exploded. Alright. I'm gonna give it one more try. And if I don't take him down this time, then I'll probably just cut out until I actually win the fight. He's a toughie and no mistake. Really what it comes down to with these later bosses is you can't afford too many mistakes too early on, because I really do think if I had one more health pack, I probably, or, you know, Immortal Blood Dispenser, whatever you want to call him, I probably could have taken him on. Also, of course, every, you know, point of damage you take on the lead up to the bosses is a bummer. And if you're playing this for your first time, absolutely do not feel bad about going back to heal every time you take a point of damage before you go and fight these guys, because, you know, that's just, it's the way it goes. You'll heal yourself fully at the save point, and then you'll be able to go fresh into here. I'm glad I grabbed my memories, I'll say that. I think if you're, like, running away from him, or even if you're walking and you're just kind of on the outside of his field, you'll be okay. It's just it has quite a range on that dash, and that's why I never want to strike enemies so many times when I'm up close to them, especially bosses, to where I'm just completely out of stamina. Like, I want enough to get away a little bit and then start running. That was too close. I only avoided damage there because I was moving perpendicularly to his strike. Still, though, I decided, incidentally, that I've played the game and beat it before, but that was probably a month or two ago, I think. And I decided I was not going to replay it before I did the Let's Play. So you're seeing, like, I know generally what's coming and generally how to deal with it, but I've forgotten specifics. And so part of me doing better with these bosses is I'm starting to remember, like, oh yeah, I remembered he had those mines that he would lay a good half to third of the way through the fight. I absolutely forgot that he had the disintegration beam, because that thing is punishing. See, I struck one too many times there, and it ended up being okay, because I got out of his way, but didn't have to be that way. That was great, because I knocked him right back into the fire, so he took a little extra damage from that. Alright, I've got him down enough that he's starting to do that, which is actually a good sign. It's one of those paradoxes where you want to see bosses become worse. I have no idea what I took health damage from there, but, you know, it's the way it goes. Oh, shoot. I'm going to use some of his stun to heal myself. Ugh. Oh, he's just going bananas this time. It's maybe too early to do this, but then maybe not. Alright. Oh no! Oh no! Get out of there! Oh, go! Did I get him? Oh no, he's... Whew, okay. Nice. I think I could have taken him even if I had used up all my stuff there. But there we go. Prisoner 1 fight. Seems to be a Bacter tradition that whenever I say, okay, if I don't beat him this very last time, then I'm for sure going to cut it out, and that'll be the time I do it. So maybe that's my good luck charm. Anyway, you see there, this is my general strategy of just like trying to keep as much of my bag of tricks in place until the end, when everything is going nuts and... I kind of lose my cool towards the end of those big old long fights that way, just because I am very anxious to destroy the guy. And the nice thing about having a bag of tricks around is that it's kind of okay if you lose some of your cool. Can I get an extra spell use? Thank goodness. It takes me up to 15 to get an extra spell use, so my goodness. Yep. I'll get to 15, 15. 15 and 15 I'll probably sit on for willpower and intelligence, and then I'm going to up my agility just from here into infinity. So that guy was, in a way, sort of a masterclass on how to fight enemies, and I should have done a few things differently towards the end there. Just as a, for instance, when he tosses out those... glowy spheres, they're really not functionally any different from proximity mines, and I could have cleared them in the same way that you'd clear a proximity mine, which is to run close to them, and they don't go off immediately. You know, they kind of fly after you a little bit and then they go off, but it's still the same principle. Like, you go after them and you dash right before they're supposed to explode, and then you clear them out. Now, the problem with clearing them is he drops them all the time, and though he's a slow mover, he's actually fairly aggressive about pursuing you. So you don't want to spend all of your time just clearing his mines, because that gives him more and more time and more opportunities to cast something nasty at you. Now, you saw there that I went back and healed immediately, and that's because the setup of this place is there isn't a handy save point right nearby. So, I think we can all guess what's going to happen once we dash onto these. And here's a new guy. Fortunately, they're not quite as bad as they look, but they do spit that corrosive stuff that everybody hates. That's the other attack of the punchers there. They can just kind of flip out for a second. And obviously fighting a bunch of them in close quarters is absolutely not what you want to be doing. But we fixed them, but good. And we got Seeker Orbs, which is, as you might guess, that is that spell that Prisoner 1 was using. So now we can use our own. It's like the good version of proximity mines, because they're magic, and magic is great, as opposed to physical stuff, which is just not good in this game. Anyway, let's see. I forget how this one goes. I think I'm going to want to go this way, actually. And, uh-oh, here's the challenge. I'll do that in a bonus video. Not right now, obviously, but it's good to have unlocked it. Oop. You can see that having the extra stamina allows me to do better combos, hit harder with them. Really, I'm able to go toe-to-toe with a lot of these guys. I thought there was one more back here, and not that I, need to hurt him or anything. I just don't like the idea of not clearing out an area. I could say of letting somebody live, but that sounds meaner. So there's our third challenge room. Of course, we'll be back for that. Yeah, any guesses as to whether or not there's more than just this one slime ball defending the the thing here. Hey, what do you know there is? So we'll clear our flank, I guess, here first. And as long as you were anticipating that, frankly, if you weren't expecting there to be a big ambush around that, then, you know, you start paying attention. That's not... Games don't give you good things and, like, have one little twerp defending. Drain. This one, as I recall, is, like, real good. If this is the one I'm thinking about. Because it restores your stamina while at the same time sapping the stamina of your enemies. I kind of thought that was going to go differently. Well, let's get there as fast as we can. I guess I should have just blasted him with magic or something like that. In fact, let's see if I can do that, like, before I enter into that area. I'm adopting, incidentally, a mode of play that I've seen while watching some other people do Dark Souls or Bloodborne or something like that, which is what I might call low editing. I've threatened to edit stuff if I'm going to fight a boss just a million times, because after, 2 failed attempts, I start to think, gosh, maybe this is going to take me forever. The advantage, I guess, of watching it this way is you do get a more realistic experience of what Immortal Planet is like, or at least what it's like when you kind of know the way these things go. I mean, it's interesting. I guess he maybe had a cryopod in there that he destroyed or something like that. Okay, now where's the memories? Because I'm going to want... I want to give up the memories that I got. There we go. So, some enemies are heavier. Oh. This isn't the room yet. Yeah, some enemies are heavier and much harder to push, even when they're in their stun state. Don't you do that to me. That's super rude. Yeah, I don't know what those buboes are supposed to be, but it certainly seems, does it not, a bit different than what we've thought of the planet as being. So... ugh, that was not the way to do it at all. Let's see, do we have anything that would do more lasting kinds of damage? I guess I could try. I'm sure there's like some super simple way to do this that I'm not thinking of. Oh, can I do the, did I have a spell I couldn't do? Yeah, Psychic Surge. I wasn't able to show that off last time. Well, let's show that off. You know what? I'm going to try to clear out the one space that had the ambush, and then I'm going to see if I can use ranged attacks to hit him there, so I can just run right across. He 3 comboed me. So it's not clear at this point in the game, and again, I'll be posting and updating the compendium and the weapons and the relics and all that, but it's not exactly clear what's going on. We're sure that there are archivists that lived here, and they seemed like knowledge-seeking sorts who said in their description they weren't interested in the power games of the Authority, and so they left and went to just pursue the life of the mind, and then went insane because, the life of the mind left them unable to defend against the alien incursion, which landed in the last place. And further, it seemed like they were trying to combat a real problem with being immortal, which is that you continually sort of lose your mind. You lose... oh, again, too early. These rooms sort of look the same to me. Anyway, you sort of continually lose your mind, you lose your memories. And I don't know if that's just a side effect of, whatever it is that makes you immortal. It appears as though people come here because they like the idea of living forever, and, who wouldn't? But as is typical in these settings, there's a high price to pay. And here it seems to be that the planet is what reconstitutes you. Like you're made of ice or what have you, and when you die, then the planet reforms you somewhere else. So it's not clear if the planet is a living entity that has desires, or if this is more of just like an exotic natural process that happens on this particular planet. You know, they say your memories are sapped somewhere, so I guess there could be, you know, somebody in charge who does this. Maybe, honestly, I mean, maybe the memory sapping is more of a function of the pods than it is of the actual reconstitution. Maybe whoever set up the pods is not quite as benevolent as they might otherwise appear, and is draining people's memories, or, you know, trying to keep them subservient or something like that. Oh, this is the way to do it. Whoops. There we go. Alright. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are in the business. Oh, I should have gotten a whole bunch of new, feel free to be on that platform, buddy. That place stinks. I should have gotten a whole bunch of new spells, because we have a bunch, don't we? We have Drain now, and we have the Seeker Orbs. So by this point in the game, you're supposed to be at least pretty good at dealing with one-on-one combat. You're good at blocking, you're good at dodging, you're good at looking at how much stamina you have and stuff like that. And that's why I say these mid-range guys, to me at least, are far more of a threat. Now, I did that ice thing just to stagger the two of them, so I could fight them at different times, and indeed, I think the deal with the traps, incidentally, is these guys don't trigger them, but they are hurt by them. So you can get them to take damage, but you need to sort of walk over them at the same time as they are on them. And what do we have going on here? The only real wrinkle that the Bubo Exploder guys do... I'm glad he didn't knock me off the edge. Wow. Well, 4 combo there. The only real wrinkle they add is sometimes you just have to move sort of, you wiggle back to back, side to side, in order to avoid them. It's not even that bad if they hit you with their stuff. If ever there was a room that was designed to help you learn to just do one-on-one fights, it's this. You can't really do fancy tricks. The only thing open to you. You could also just explode him with magic, which I may end up doing. But really the only path open to you there is just a straight-up punch fest. So this was apparently where they kept prisoners that they wanted to not waste iron on, instead using a laser technology. Maybe they wanted them to be able to talk to each other. Maybe these were nicer prisoners. I believe these Bubo guys, in a way, are maybe supposed to be sort of a kinder, gentler introduction to a kind of enemy we'll be seeing more later, who throws that poison out like nothing. Oop. There we go. I've got plenty of health upgrades, so I need to not be shy about using those. Yeah, speaking of... Oops. You know what, buddy? I think you might just... You might just have to eat it before I jump over there. The very last thing I wanted is to make it all the stinking way through that place, and, you know, at the very end have it be like, oh, I tried to dash, but he was standing on the ledge, and so, you know, we consider that a missed dash, so now you can just eat it. Game is certainly not above cheap tricks. I've said that before. Though I do appreciate, as in most games of this kind, I don't, you know, want to be mean and just say Dark Souls-likes or whatever. Whoop. I was kind of hoping he was close enough that a spear dash could have taken him off, but... Well, didn't work either time. That worked. Well, who do we have up here? Looks like a guy that's doing different stuff. He's suffering in some way. as was the case for the Alien Institution, or the archives, I guess, the alien-infested archives. There will be sort of 2 rungs of the boss for us to deal with. There we go. Managing enemy aggro is an important facet of the game. We don't want to fight everybody all at the same time. Okay. That lowers those. Now, what do you have to say, my boy? Yeah, I know. I murdered him. I hope so too, but if you don't have your spine, then I'll be able to get that too. And hey, there's a secret bridge over this way. Yeah, before charging into a boss battle, if it's been like a long time since you've been able to save, then you're going to want to find yourself a nice save point. Okay, we hit 15 of each. Let's get myself more agility, please. More spell damage, please. More willpower and health, and why not some strength. Oh, I have so many levels. Oh, I'm so glad that I didn't miss. Oh, you know what? Sorry, also. Let's change my item loadout here. I like the ice shard so much that I think I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to try Drain, because Prisoner 1 seems like a guy that would be drained. So I don't know what that other one was. I guess that was Prisoner 0 or something like that. Incidentally, we also have never been here before, so a little exploration probably isn't off the table. Again, those little annoying cuts and bruises that you might get going through a level are just not really an issue with the bloodshot eyes. Another reason I'm glad that you guys chose that one. I also feel like my head's around the sword spear more. It does a lot of damage up fast. Oh, I can throw toxin bombs just the same way as the initial guards did there. And notice this just takes me north of where Prisoner 1 was. This was one of the places, the first Prisoner 1, I guess. Prisoner 1, 0, whatever. Look, I'm just going to rest here. Get my strength back. Hopefully he doesn't care about me. I was hoping that I would be far enough away. Can you jump and attack me? That would be great. Alright. Kind of a bummer. Oh, that's something I probably should have mentioned before. As you see, you don't actually regain stamina while you're blocking, which in situations like this is kind of a bummer when you actually clip inside of a guy. That doesn't happen often. But anyway, who knows what's up here? Whether or not it's Prisoner 1. Oh, it was! This whole time it was Prisoner 1. Come here, you. Yeah, it's time to talk about something else, actually. Oops. Most bosses seem like they have kind of a weakness, and Prisoner 1's is fairly intense. I didn't show it off in the first time we faced him, because I wanted to just beat him regular, and actually it didn't look like he had one this time, but you wait until you go back and I show you how this fight goes, because this fight can either be absolutely brutal, I mean just the worst, or not that bad, because Prisoner 1 is a psyker, and if there's one thing we have learned about psykers in this game, it's to get close to them so that they can't hurt you with any of their wily magic. Alright, are you going to do it this time? Yeah, there we go. Now you can eat it. So So, the trick to beating this guy, and something I did not show off during the first fight, but something that I will show off now, is you have to fight him in a very different way than any of the other fights you've done. Which is, don't worry about stunning him. Don't worry about many things. Just get as close as you possibly can. At that point, he's going to decide that the thing to do is that sword swipe, unless you let him get, you know, a little distance away from you, and then he'll decide that he'll do something else awful, knowing him. Alright, last time. So, the thing about Prisoner 1, the second fight, is this arena, as I'm sure you've seen, is a little small for all of his tricks that he uses. He's got just a ton of spells. It's almost like you're not meant to fight him in the normal way, and discovering that is absolutely key to winning or even having a chance in this fight. In fact, what you may notice about Prisoner 1 is he has all these attacks that he uses, only, though, if he is far enough away from you. If you get close, he has that sword swipe, but that's really it. That's the only attack he uses at this close range. The only criticism I'll offer of the fight is that he really does have a large variety of timing that he can use in between waves. So sometimes, you know, you can try to time it so that, oh, I'm hurt now, let me pop something right here. But if he's just a little bit too fast, then no, that plan is for naught. But the general strategy with the dude is, or at least seems to be, wait for him to swipe, block the swipe, well, that actually worked out better than I thought. It was more or less coincidence that he didn't have stamina there, so that was quite handy. But you see how this generally goes. You stay close to him, and he swipes at you, and then he tries to dash away, and you don't let him. And you never do so many swipes that you run out of stamina, so you can always block those sword swipes. And just stay on him. Don't ever let him get the distance he needs to start doing his nonsense, because goodness knows he will be anxious to do it. Yes! Ha 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 ha! Get wrecked! And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Prisoner 1. And I'm sort of low on health right now, and I have no healing left to me, so I am absolutely, you better believe, going to wait for those things to time out. And you get his hand as a trophy for defeating Prisoner 1, and you get to feel good about yourself for you know, figuring out how that fight was supposed to go, because I'm sure it can be done a different way, you know, where you fight him the, quote, right way, where you just, you know, stay the middle distance away from him and tank all of his magic attacks or do something silly like that. I can get to 20 in agility now. That's very nice. Almost a 10 endurance, so that's cool. But yeah, that's the way to beat him. It's just not like many other fights, although you are trained that way a little bit by the Archivists. The Archivists have the same thing. They sword swipe you when you're close, and then if you are, you know, far away from you, then they have all those awful attacks. Well, he's just a big Archivist. So knowing that, you can defeat him. Well, that's right. Aww. I agree. Also, that hand is cool. Well, you never know. You never know. So anyway, that is Area 3, ladies and gentlemen. And I am happy to have completed it. Happy to have shown it off, and that's that. There is one area left to us, so the game is a bit on the shorter side, I suppose. And we will be tackling that next time, along with of course, doing another one of the challenge rooms, showing off the loot that we got this time and how the items work and everything like that. But I hope you enjoyed this. I know I did. So see you next time.